We are live again. Welcome, Facebookers. And thanks for tuning in. We're starting up, I think, about a minute early here. Um, and we'll probably have to uh, uh, repeat ourselves. We have a little bit of change in our uh, scheduled programming here. To Let's see here. Bear with us. I'm Mark Sevenoff. Nice to see you again. Um, uh, we were supposed to see Ashley Korenblat, which we're working on the technical side of. This is Adam. Adam, why don't you tell our fans a little bit about yourself while I work on the technical parts here?
Hello, everyone. I'm Adam. As Mark said, I'm a guide here at Western Spirit, family trip specialist. Happy to be here to tell you all about our family trips today. Hopefully, we can get our fearless leader, Ashley, on the call here with us. She's been called into action by Deb Haaland, the Secretary of the Interior. She's in the neighborhood today and asked Ashley to come join her for lunch at the Edge of the Cedars Museum down in Blanding, or Monticello.
Blanding.
Blanding.
Yeah.
Blanding.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool, but she really wants to jump on the call here, so we're going to try and get her dialed in. But yeah, I've been a guide here for 2 years, or this is my second year now. And yeah, been having a great time doing all kinds of trips. Just got off the White Rim Road yesterday, which was spectacular, as always. Spring has really sprung in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
It's 80 degrees in the sun. It's really, really lovely out there.
What's the last trip you did? Adam, was it the Maze or the White Rim?
It was the White Rim, yep. We had all adults on this trip last week, but the 3 trips before that, we had some young kids out there, 14, 13 years old, a couple NICA racers from California came out, and a young man from Arkansas, from Bentonville, the mountain biking capital of the world, apparently. He was pretty impressive for a 14-year-old, so that's a pretty fun trip to do with the kids and show them what's really out there. It's not single track, but it'll blow their mind, definitely. So,
what are this time of year? Being early April, what are some of the other trips that you'll be guiding personally?
Yeah, so I have a few days off now to recuperate and get some adult things done, but then I'm going out to the Bears Ears South area on the Bears Ears South trip, which is a spectacular trip, family friendly as well, and yeah, we go to a lot of different indigenous ruins on that itinerary, and some spectacular biking, kind of a couple hours south of Moab. That's a really fun trip, and then later I've got 3 of those in a row, which is going to be great, and then I've got 2 trips in the maze, which should also be pretty fun. I've never been down to the maze, so I'm really looking forward to getting in there and unleashing my inner Hayduke.
I'm still trying to invite Ashley here. We're having a little still some technical difficulties, so if we don't get through to her here shortly, I'll just sub in. Yeah. So why don't we start? Why don't we read some of these questions, and then if the IT department shows up, we can still patch Ashley in. But here's some questions. This is from Tammy in Chicago.
Hi, Tammy. If you're watching.
Yeah. What do the kids do if they get tired of riding?
That's a great question, Tammy. Well, I've got 2 answers for you. First, I've never seen a child tired on one of our trips. We know kids have unlimited energy. We've gotten to camp sometimes with the kids, and you just have to send them on a couple more laps of the campsite, or send them on a quick out and back to find a purple flower or something like that might be blooming. But it's rare that kids get tired. But if they do, same as an adult, if an adult gets tired, we just get them in the vehicle, if that's an option at the time, and give them a couple snacks and maybe give them a boost up to the group if the group's getting ahead of them, and then drop them back there with the group. So getting tired is really not a problem, and we deal with it in the same way we would a tired adult. Just help them out a little bit, get back on the bike.
Yeah. So if you're just tuning in, so I know we realize some people don't get to miss the start right at 3 o'clock. I'm Mark Sevenoff. This is Adam Rosenfeld. We're both guides here at Western Spirit. The topic of episode 3 of our little Ask a Guide series is family trips. We have Western Spirit's been doing family trips now for 20 years. I've definitely seen a lot of little boys and girls on their first trips when mom or dad have been pulling them around in burly trailers, and then trail along bikes, and then 20, 24 and on up, and now they're riding 29-inch adult bikes, and I'm not quite old enough to see them come back on with trips with their own kids, but darn close. So it's been really fun. It's a growing part of our business. I suppose every part of our business is growing this year with this COVID bike boom. But so I'm subbing in for Ashley. She got called away to a higher duty to go meet with the new Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland. She's visiting our state and just down south at the Bears Ears National Monument. So Adam and I are going to take some questions here that have been submitted and give a crack at it here. I'll take this next one. This one's from Frank in Baltimore. My kid's a seriously picky eater. What do you serve them? All right.
Great question.
That is a great question. That's actually, as a father, I remember when my son was in that same boat. At first it was like just white things. The white on white sandwich, is that the thing?
Yeah.
I think so. And now he eats anything. But to answer that question, we send every guest a detailed form to fill out, and whether they're children or adults, and that allows you to tell us, the folks in the office, to if you have any dietary restrictions, medical conditions, if you're vegan, celiac, whatever.
Or if you just don't like beans.
Yeah. A lot of times we get funny comments, but a lot of times, so we do our very best to shop appropriately. And for kids' meals, certainly we're going to stock up on kind of more kid-friendly things, but also not leave out the wholesome salads and fresh vegetables and fresh fruit. There's certainly the snack bin with some more kind of traditional Cliff Bar type stuff, and maybe some gummy bears, and of course there's always going to be a little sugar in there to get them to the top of the climb. But we kind of we want mom or dad to be doling out the sugar, not necessarily us. So we keep it in check. And then there's always the fun campfire hits, whether they be s'mores or kind of a strawberry cobbler type thing, whatever's in season. We're on normal trips, we might be doing more traditional stuff like Dutch oven lasagna or enchiladas. On a kids trip, we might still be doing that, but we might do hot dog and hamburger night, or some more simple foods to make sure little Johnny or Susie get enough calories in there. And no one's ever, that I can remember, has starved on a Western Spirit trip. And sometimes there's like some real revelations.
Mm-hmm.
Revelations.
Revelations.
Yeah,
Revelations.
thanks. Ooh.
Yeah, one of those.
Cool. Here's one. Here's one from who's here. Why don't you take number 3 there?
We got one from Bobby in Northern California here. Bobby's wondering what kind of kid-friendly activities or games might happen at camp after the riding. That's a great question, Bobby. Thanks for asking it. Well, this is where we really shine. The biking's all good and fun, but camp is where the excitement really happens.
Yeah.
We have endless games, endless activities, depending on where we are. It might be trying to find a certain flower or a cactus that's blooming, or we might be playing bocce ball, or the more natural version of bocce ball, rock, which is a classic, one of my favorites. When you're out in the wilderness or in the backcountry, you can play hide and seek for hours and hours and hours, and have all kinds of fun that you might not be able to have at home in Northern California, where Bobby is. But yeah, we always bring along some fun games. What's another one we bring? Spike ball has been out on trips. Lawn darts is another one I've seen on a trip. Some of the guides have their own favorite games that they like to bring. Sometimes there's a chess set, sometimes there's card games. I know all the guides have a pretty extensive library of relevant literature and naturalist field guides. So if you're interested in checking out kind of Native American ruins or looking at the plants and animals to be found, we can help identify those and things like that, which is a pretty cool, fun activity to do when you're in a new place, whether that's the desert here in Moab, Utah, or the redwood forest in Northern California. It's probably going to be different from where you're from, and we can show you the little details that really make those places special.
Yeah. Here's a question that somebody's typing in. Adam, what's the best memory you have from doing kids trips last season?
That's a great question. I'd have to say we did a trip in Jackson. We did the Grand Teton Island Park trip in Jackson with a big extended family group. Half of them were from the West Coast and half were from the East Coast. And they brought kids. I think the youngest kid was 4 years old. Wow. So he was riding on a tag-along on the dad's bike. Yeah. And then the oldest was, I think, 13 or 14. So it was a good range. Nice. And these kids had never camped outside of their gardens at home. Wow. And so to bring them to the Tetons and show them how it's done was a real treat. I remember we gave them the tents on the first day, and they just looked at these things like, what do we do with this? Yeah. So we showed them on the first day, and by the end of the week, the grown-ups were sitting back enjoying a refreshment at camp while the kids set up the entire tent. Nice. That's awesome. And so that's a really great moment, at the end of the trip when you watch the kids set up and take down their own tents and look for micro trash and say, wow, look at this lodgepole pine or this juniper tree. It's super memorable. Yeah. So sorry if we get your kids addicted to camping and the great outdoors and fresh air and fun, but that is oftentimes a byproduct. Yeah. And the parents see that, and then they hear the kids talking about that time at Jackson or that time at Yellowstone or that time on the north rim of the Grand Canyon or so many of the amazing places we go, and they want to recreate that. There's definitely families that are probably on their 10th trip, and it's one of the highlights of their summer and one of the highlights of their childhood for and parenting for that matter. Awesome.
So I'm gonna say this one more time for those who might be just tuning in. Welcome to Western Spirits Facebook Live. I'm Mark. This is my co-guide Adam. I'm subbing in for Ashley, who was supposed to be one of our hosts, but she got called into action to head down south to the Bears Ears National Monument and meet with some other key business people and stakeholders with Deb Haaland, our new Secretary of the Interior. So that was a really special opportunity. And Adam and I are talking about family trips here, and just taking some questions here. Here's one. What happens if my kid gets hurt? Great questions. Not much different than if an adult gets hurt. So all our guides, including Adam and myself, are at least wilderness first responders. It's a 7 to 9 day course that we have to recert every couple of years, and it's the minimal amount of first aid that's required in many places we go. So we're gonna assess whatever that is. Maybe it's just a stub toe, or most common injuries are scratches, lacerations. Fall and cut your hand. So we're gonna fix you up. And if it's something that prevents you from riding, then whoever the person is, whoever the guest is, they have the opportunity of leaving the trip. We're gonna make that opportunity available, and however difficult it may be, but that's always an opportunity. Or more likely, take the afternoon off and ride in the van. Maybe go for a walk at camp, or assess it. We have a large number of safety precautions in place to prevent this stuff. We carry satellite phones. We carry Garmin InReaches on top of cell phones, and on top of all the wilderness medical training we all have. But so accidents happen, but we're professionals and we've been doing it for 30 plus years. So we know exactly what to do if that comes up. Yeah. Here's a more kind of nuanced one. How do I pick the right trip? I'm going to take a crack at this one because I work in the office more, but really, the easiest way is to figure out when you can go. We discussed this, Sean and I, at the very first live episode about a month ago, and because that often dictates the right trip. If you have, for whatever reason, set that I want to go to Telluride because I've heard about it, I've seen it, but you can only go there in April or May, you should bring your skis or snowboard, but you won't be able to do much biking. And in fact, our trips don't even happen in Telluride until the summer. Most of our family trips, which we're focused on here, are summertime trips. So, and that's because A, the kids are out of school, and B, because these higher elevations that are great to go to in the summertime, whether it be the Salt Rim, the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Jackson, they're oftentimes covered in snow in the spring, and so we pick the best time. So to kind of answer this question, really what you want to do is call the office. You can go to our website, look at all the summer trips, kind of try to narrow it down, but because our because our inventory isn't always live, the best is to call and talk to myself or Sean or Summer or Jenna or any of the other guides and staff that we have in here, and they can figure out what age kids you have, and what are the most appropriate trips. Because there's certain trips that work better for really little kids, say rail trail type things, but then there's other trips that we cater to more kind of advanced riders, whether they're 12-year-olds or teenagers. And then of course there's trips. We have this whole crop of incredible NICA race athletes that are coming out of that program, that they're kind of riding mom and dad into the ground, and they're looking for some single track, and maybe and there's a lot of levels in between. So that's one of those. Yeah, here's a couple comments that I'll read. As a mom, Ashley's telling this. One of the best things about going on a family trip is getting to enjoy your kids while the guides do all the cooking and cleaning and organizing, and even most of the kid wrangling.
Mm-hmm.
To explain that a bit better, on all these family trips, we bring a third guide all the time, and oftentimes that guide is a teacher or has worked with children extensively, and they're on kid duty. It doesn't mean they're changing diapers, but it does mean kind of like what makes these trips so nice is that the guides take care of pretty much all the hard work,
mm-hmm.
the cooking, the cleaning, and you can sit back and enjoy a refreshment and just watch it all unfold.
Mm-hmm.
Camping with children is definitely more work. It's part of why maybe at the end of the trip it is so rewarding, but that's why you go on a. It's almost more of a reason to go with an outfitting company like Western Spirit, because we take care of so much of that. Let's see. Do we have time for any other questions? We'll this series, just so you guys know, we're trying to do it every 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, I believe the Thursday, that coincides with our annual guide meeting. So every spring we get all the guides together, come to Moab. We go through new trip itineraries, new procedures, new rules with the Park Service, and then of course we ride bikes and party a little bit, and it's really super fun. But I think the next Ask a Guide series will probably be delayed a few days, or maybe we'll even do it a few days early. But stay tuned on our social channels for what the next topic will be, and then which guides, and we'll have to get Ashley back in there. But right now, most of our guides are finishing up their winter jobs, as many of them in the ski industry, so they'll be coming in here to Moab soon. I think that's most of the questions we've got. If there's more coming in the comment section, we'll answer those online, and we'll wrap it up here. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
You'll likely see Adam again, if not on a Facebook Live, out on the trail.
Yeah, hopefully on the trail.
Yeah. And we're super excited for 2021. Thanks again for tuning in, and give us a call if you have any questions. 435-259-8732 here in Moab. Okay, thanks guys.